months pregnant when I moved the car seat back. My belly didn't fit anymore, and that's when I found it. A small gold earring tucked between the seat and the console. It wasn't mine. I sat in that parking lot holding it in my palm for a long time.
And right then I decided pare. I wasn't gonna say a single word. Not yet.
My name is Sophia, 27 years old, and up until that Tuesday afternoon in a grocery store parking lot, I believed I was living exactly the life I had always wanted. James and I got married 2 years before any of this happened. He was steady, dependable, the kind of man who remembered things without being reminded and showed up without being asked.
When we found out I was pregnant, he stayed up until 2 a.m. reading every pregnancy book he could find on his phone because he wanted to understand what my body was going through.
I thought that was who he was. I was wrong about that completely.
The pregnancy was hard from the start, exhaustion that hit like a wall every afternoon, back pain that kept me up most nights. I was working from home and managing everything alone most days while James handled a big project at work that apparently required him to stay late 3 or 4 nights every single week. I never questioned it once.
He was providing for us, building our future. That's what I told myself every night.
When I heard his key in the door after 9 p.m. and watched him come and kiss my forehead,
He would ask how the baby was moving. I believed every single part of that story.
then came that Tuesday afternoon. I had stopped at the grocery store on the way home from my last prenatal appointment. James had taken my car that morning because his was in the shop. When I got back to the parking lot, I climbed into the driver's seat and immediately realized I couldn't reach the pedals comfortably anymore. The belly had gotten too big overnight, it seemed. I reached down to slide the seat back, and something caught the light. Small, gold, tucked right between the seat rail and the center console like it had fallen, a hoop earring.
I picked it up and held it between my fingers and just looked at it for a long time. I own exactly 1 pair of gold hoops.
They have been sitting in my jewelry box untouched for 4 months because my ears had gotten too sensitive during pregnancy to wear anything. This was not mine.
I sat in that parking lot for 20 minutes. I did not cry. I did not call him. I did not text my sister. I just sat there with one hand on my belly and one hand holding that earring, and I felt something settle inside me, like a decision, being made without words. I was not going to say anything, not until I knew everything.
That night, James came home at 9:30 p.m., kissed my forehead, asked if I had eaten, sat beside me on the couch, and put his hand on my belly when the baby kicked. I watched his face while he smiled at the movement under his palm, and I smiled back. The next morning, after he left for work, I ordered a GPS tracker online, paid for same-day delivery. It arrived at 4 p.m. At 11 p.m., when James was asleep, I got up slowly and quietly and went out to the driveway in the dark, 8 months pregnant, moving carefully. I crouched down as far as my body would allow and slid that tracker up behind the rear bumper where it locked magnetically into place. Then I went back inside and got into bed beside my husband and closed my eyes. The tracking app updated every 15 minutes. 3 days later, on a Wednesday night, when James texted me that the project was running long and he would be home by 10 p.m. I opened the app and watched the blue dot on my screen. It was not at his office. It was parked on Clearwater Drive, 11 minutes from our house, in front of a residential building I had never heard him mention once. It stayed there for 3 hours and 14 minutes. Then it moved back toward home. I put my phone face down on the nightstand and stared at the ceiling until I heard his key in the door. "Hey," he said from the doorway, "you still up?"
Couldn't sleep. Baby is restless. He came and sat on the edge of bed.
Get some rest, he said, rubbing my back for a few minutes. I love you.
"I love you too," I said. I watched him walk into the bathroom and close the door. Then I opened the app again. Over the next 3 weeks, I tracked every single movement. Clearwater Drive, Wednesday nights, Friday nights, occasional Mondays, always between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Always the same building. Always while I was home alone with my feet swollen and my back aching and my phone on the nightstand waiting for his text telling me he was stuck at the office. I called my sister Rachel on a Saturday morning when, "What's wrong?" she said immediately. Not a question.
I told her everything. The earring, the tracker, the address, all of it. She was silent. "Sophia,"
She said.
how long have you been sitting on this alone?
3 weeks, she repeated quietly. "Okay, here's what we are going to do. You are not confronting him.
Not while you are pregnant. Get a lawyer first. Document everything first. Then end it.
You end it on your terms, not his." "I know," I said, "that's already the plan." She went quiet again.
When did you get this strong? She said. I didn't answer that.
"Because the truth is,
I wasn't strong. I was just running out of options. My daughter deserved better.
better than a mother who fell apart before she even arrived. Rachel connected me with I sent over every GPS log, every screenshot, every date and time documented. The attorney told me what I had was more than enough. I just needed to wait until after the birth. My contractions started at 6:22 a.m. on a Thursday morning. James drove to the hospital with talking the entire way.
Breathe. You are doing great. I'm excited. His voice was shaking with something that sounded exactly like genuine joy. I remember thinking,
This is the most complicated thing I have ever felt in my entire life.
He stayed through every single contraction, never left my side, held my hands so tight during the hard ones that I could feel his pulse against my fingers. 9 hours later, our daughter arrived. 6 pounds, 14 ounces, perfect. Screaming beautifully before she was even fully here.
down completely. He was laughing and crying at the same time, pressing his forehead. To mine saying things I don't think he even knew he was saying out loud.
The nurses were smiling. It looked exactly like the moment we had always talked about. I held my daughter and looked at my husband's face and felt two completely different things at the exact same time. Love for what we had built, certainty that I was done. 6 weeks later, when my doctor cleared me and my attorney told me everything was in order, I made one phone call. Then I sat James down at the kitchen table. I opened my laptop. I turned it to face him. On the screen was a spreadsheet, 47 entries. Every date, every time, every duration. Clearwater Drive logged 47 times over 6 weeks while I was home, pregnant, believing he was at work. He stared at the screen for a long time without speaking.
Sophia.
Don't. The lawyer has everything. GPS logs, the timestamps. You have been served as of this morning. I just needed you to see it first, I said, so you understand exactly why.
He had nothing. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. James lost 70% of assets.
The house, the majority of our savings, the retirement account we had been building together since the year we got married. His attorney tried to argue, tried to minimize, tried to reframe 47 logged visits to another woman's apartment as something explainable. The judge was not interested. Our daughter is 4 months old now. She has no idea any of this happened.
She just knows warmth and safety and the sound of my voice reading to her.
Or she falls asleep every single night. That is everything right now. A small gold earring. That is all it took. One tiny thing left in the wrong seat
Of the wrong car by a man who thought he was being so careful.
So let me ask you something before you go. Do you think he ever once considered what would happen if he got caught? Or did he just assume I would never look?
Drop a comment and tell me, Ty, because I think we both already know the answer. Drop a comment. Did he think you would never find out? Drop a heart if. You are done playing their games.